Hello and welcome back. In this video we will walk through a simple Python program. In the beginning I will give you an overview of what I plan to cover, then I will switch over to Python idle editor, walk you through the script and then run the program in Python shell. At the end, if you've enjoyed this video, please consider liking, sharing and subscribing. Now let's begin. For this Python program, the purpose is to develop a script that computes the summation, average, and product of the values in a list that are greater than a specified value using a for loop. The purpose of this program is to serve as an introduction to lists, or arrays, in Python. Most programming languages support arrays, which are one of the most fundamental data structures. With an array, multiple values can be stored and each is referenced with the name of the array and specifying an index value. The individual values of an array are known as elements. Python uses lists, which are more general data structures that can be used to represent arrays. A list in Python is simply an ordered collection of items, each of which can be of any type. A list is a dynamic mutable data structure, and this means that items can be added to and deleted from it. The list data structure is the most common data sequence in Python. A sequence is a set of values identified by integer indices. An individual item in the list can be referenced by using an index, which is an integer number that indicates the relative position of the item in the list. The values of index numbers always start at 0. The index values are 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. In Python, the reference to an individual item of a list is written with the name of the list and the index value or an index variable with brackets. Because a list is a mutable data structure, the items of the list can change value by performing assignments on them. The first useful operation on a list is to get the number of items in a list. Function len is called to get the number of items from the list specified in parentheses. The len function returns the number of items in an object. When the object is a string, the len function returns the number of characters in the string. Further operations can be performed on the list, such as summation, average, the product, and so on. Now, let's open up the Python idle editor and develop a script that computes the summation, average, and product of the values in a list that are greater than a specified value using a for loop. First, start out by putting identification information for the Python file enclosed by 3 quotations. For the program file name, let's title it iterate a list for loop.py. Then the author information, and for that, I'll put my name Lewis. Next the date, which is August 31, 2022, and lastly I'll put a short description of the program. This program computes the summation, average, and product of the values in a list that are greater than an input value using a for loop. Next, let's define our list. Type list n equals, open bracket, 2.14, 4.38, 6.52, 8.76, 10.90, 12, 15, 16.8, 18, close the bracket and press enter. This is the list we will work from. Next, we need an input statement. This statement will be used to determine what value we will input to guide our for loop statement later. Type number equals int, open parenthesis, input, open parenthesis, quotation, the statement, enter a value, colon, close the quotation, close the parenthesis twice as there are 2 preceding opening parentheses and press enter. Since the number to be input is an integer, therefore we define the data type as int. The data type int, for integer, is a whole number, positive or negative, without decimals of unlimited length. The input statement reads a value of a variable from the input device, in this case, the keyboard. This will display the string literal enter a value. Next, type count equals 0, press enter, then type sum equals 0, press enter, and type product equals 1 and press enter. The count will be used as our counter to determine the amount of values greater than the input number. The sum will be used to sum the values greater than the input number, and the product will be used to multiply all values greater than the input number. Prior to the for loop, I want to print the entire list. Therefore, type print, open parenthesis, list n, close parenthesis, and press enter. The print function prints the specified message to the screen, or other standard output device. The message can be a string or any other object. The object will be converted into a string before being written to the screen. Next, to input a blank space after the list prints, type print, open and close parenthesis, and press enter. Now, it's time for the for loop. Type for I in range, open parenthesis len, open parenthesis, list n, close the parenthesis twice as there are two preceding opening parentheses, colon, and press enter. Next, type if list n, open bracket, I, close bracket, greater than number, colon, and press enter. This means that if the number within the list is greater than the input number, we will perform additional operations on these values. Next, I want to print the values that apply to this parameter. Type print, open parenthesis, quotation, index number equals, close quotation, comma, I, comma, open quotation, and value equals, close quotation, comma, list n, open bracket, I, close the parenthesis, and press enter. Next, type count equals count plus 1 and press enter. Type sum equals sum plus list n, open bracket, I, close bracket, and press enter. Then type average equals sum divided by count and press enter. To get the average, we need to divide the sum of the values by the amount of applicable values. In Python, there are two types of division operators. The single forward slash divides the number on its left by the number on its right and returns a floating point value. The double forward slashes divides the number on its left by the number on its right, rounds down the answer, and returns a whole number. For this instance, we will use the single forward slash. Now, type product equals product multiplied by list n, open bracket, I, close bracket, and press enter. I want another blank line here, therefore type print, open and close parenthesis, then press enter. Next, let's print the results. Type print, open parenthesis, f, quotation, this list has, open curly bracket, count, close curly bracket, values greater than open curly bracket, number, close curly bracket, close the quotation, close the parenthesis and press enter. The F preceding the print statement means formatted string literals, and it is a way to format your string that is more readable and fast. The word count and number embedded in curly brackets will show the count of values greater than the input number. Next, type print, open parenthesis, F, quotation, the sum of all values greater than, open curly bracket, number, close curly bracket, equals, colon, quotation, comma. I want to round the result to 2 decimal places. This is accomplished by using the round function. Therefore, after the comma, type the word round, open parenthesis, sum, comma, 2, close the parenthesis twice as there are 2 preceding opening parentheses, and press enter. The round function returns a floating point number that is a rounded version of the specified number, with the specified number of decimal places. Next, type print, open parenthesis, f, quotation, the average of all values greater than, open curly bracket, number, close curly bracket, equals, colon, quotation, comma, round, open parenthesis, average, comma, 2, close the parenthesis twice as there are 2 preceding opening parentheses, then press enter. Next, type print, open parenthesis, f, quotation, the statement the product of all values greater than, open curly bracket, number, close curly bracket, equals, colon, quotation, comma, round, open parenthesis, product, comma, 2, close the parenthesis twice as there are 2 preceding opening parentheses, then press enter. Now, let's run the module and confirm our for loop to compute the summation, average, and product of the values in a list that are greater than a specified value using a for loop works as expected. In the Python idle editor header, click Run, then click Run Module. After the idle shell opens, type 15. As expected, based on the for loop code we input, Python returns all values within the list greater than 15 as index 7 with value 16.8 and index 8 with value 18, then performs the expected calculations. This list has 2 values greater than 15. The sum of all values greater than 15 equals 34.8. The average of all values greater than 15 equals 17.4. The product of all values greater than 15 equals 302.4. Thank you for watching my video. If you've enjoyed this video and found it informative, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. Please hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when I upload videos to YouTube. I'll see you next week with a new Python video. Until next time, take care.